hopefully this will be a much shorter video. I'm going to show you how to get some of the same things that I achieved in InDesign. I'll show you how you would get that same stuff in Affinity Publisher. Fire it up. I'm going to leave the InDesign document open just so I can double check some stuff. Right, so we want A4 again. Again, I'm going to change my units to points. And that's all fine. Facing pages, yep. If you were doing something purely for PDF, you could change that to RGB, but I like to design stuff as if it's going to be for print, just in case, and let Acrobat handle any conversion to RGB if that's needed. So if I use the same principles as I used in setting up the InDesign file, I want a top margin of starting with 60. I want a bottom starting at 100. The inner margin I want 50, and the outer margin I want 65. Now there's no equivalent to the kind of master text frame thing in Affinity. Just for the hell of it, I'll stick in a bleed. Just want to check what that is in millimeters. So that's like a 3mm bleed. Go ahead and create that. I'm not a big fan of having all these pre-done paragraph and character styles. So what I would probably do is just delete unused styles. Right, so we get nothing. Oh, of course, we've got to think about the baseline grid again. Document, no. Document setups here. So if you ever want to access this stuff after you've created it, you'll find it in here. So I'll do that. I'll do it right this time. So I'll get my calculator out again. Copy that. Paste. Subtract the 100 points from the bottom. Subtract the 60 points from the top. That leaves us with that as the text measure. Divide that by 12. Right, so 56 or 57 is what we would want. So let's just go 56 times 12, 672. Store that. Now we go back to that figure again, subtract what we just calculated. What I would do is just take the 100 off that. That leaves us with 69.9. So we'll just pop that in there, 69.9. Now, because of rounding errors, that might not work out exactly as we want. View baseline grid, turn it on. You want it to be to the top margin. Now, unfortunately, in Affinity, it still displays it above the margin and at the sides of the margin and below the margin. I prefer the way it does it in InDesign, where it, if you ask it to refer only to the margin, it only draws it in there. Now, I think in both programs you can actually set baseline options within a text frame, which means you can have different baseline grids. So maybe that would be a better use case for that. But we'll go for that. And that looks as if it's worked better than the arse I made of calculating it in InDesign. We'll do place. We'll get that document again. And we'll drop it in. Now, I'm not entirely sure. I've used Affinity Publisher a bit, but I'm not entirely sure of how to get it to autoflow. Pages is over here. Alright, so I did ask it for some reason for 6 pages. What I did there was I held down Alt and it seemed to add another one on. So I'm wondering if I hold down Alt and Shift. Yeah, so Alt and Shift and clicking on the out port gives you as many pages as it needs, which is quite similar to the behaviour you would have in InDesign if you were doing it that way. Using I can't remember what you call it, in InDesign, using the primary text frame feature means you don't really need to bother with that. But if you didn't have that option enabled, you would be holding down some combination of Shift, Control and Alt to get it to autoflow. Right, so I'm going to apply I'm going to delete these styles. Right. Where's clear overrides? Never mind. Right, so I'm going to do Control F and I'm searching for search for, I could do it this way, search for paragraph break, break and replace with paragraph break. So it's searching for two and replacing with one. And I'll do replace all. Now there's instances where there was obviously more than two in a row, which means we're down to two in a row in some cases again. So you just have to run this multiple times until there is no more. And that's the way you used to have to do it in InDesign years ago when I started using it. Clear that out. Now we could search for paragraph break space and replace it with paragraph break, and that should get these. So find. I didn't find it there for some reason. Replace all anyway. Oh, it did. And again, some of the things I remember doing from InDesign, dot space dot replace with dot replace all. Right, so to set up we'll set up the body style first. So it's down here. Now I'm not a fan of the fact that in Affinity Publisher your character styles and paragraph styles are all jumbled together. You know, they're separated paragraph styles at the top, character styles at the bottom, but I prefer them being in separate tabs. But we'll go for body, fully justified, last line left. First line and then 12 points. Space before 0. Align to baseline grid turned on. Font. Minion Pro. Point. Language American. I'm going to turn on optical alignment. Justification. Now this is the thing we had in InDesign. This thing. So you can see that you can control word spacing and letter spacing, but not glyph scaling. So to get it roughly the same, we would go 85, 100, 115, we'll go -2 and 2. Hyphenation, auto hyphenate, bump these up. That's fine. Oh, and obviously the big one. We want 2 columns and we want 14 points gutter. Master pages. If we go to the master, I can never remember the place shortcut in Affinity. Control Shift M. Not ideal. Now you can see, because this time I put in the bleed, so I'll show you what you would do for the bleed. You would make sure it extended out to the bleed there, down at the bottom there. So actually I need to hold down Shift Control to scale that very slightly out. Make sure that doesn't cross. Copy that, rotate, and we could do the same thing. So we're inserting page number field. Make it bold, make it about, let's go for 20 point this time. Now, see how I'm moving that and it's doing weird things? I don't want this aligned to the baseline grid, and I'm damned if I know where to turn that off. Paragraph aligned to baseline grid, right? Swatches. Let's pick a nice red colour this time. Now let me just jump back. I want that bigger. Out to the bleed. And then copy to the other side. I'm just going to leave it full opacity. That's strange. You can select them, but you can't move them. That's cool. These X's just are there because I used a picture frame rectangle rather than just a rectangle. It doesn't really matter. The X only shows up in this view. If you see the preview, it goes. Same principles before. We'll create a new one and we'll call it body first. Based on body, and first line indent 0. And I think it's some years I was clicking on that. Yeah, again you can assign keyboard shortcuts, but you'll sadly Affinity recognises numpad 1 just as the character 1, which it's already using for 100% view or something. Yeah, they're for views. Oh well. Hidden one. Spacing. Right, we're taking that off the grid, and what I'm looking for is there, capitals. So we want all caps. Now it's done some funky stuff with the spacing here. I'm just going to apply that to a few more, even though they're going to change. What I do want is the colour. That's quite nice. Right, so I'm going to pick one of these to alter the spacing, and just watch the other ones to see it update. Yeah, so space before is what I'm looking for here. And I think that looks about right. Now you notice it's smart enough not to add in 8 points of space before that, because it knows that's the top. So that's cool. If we did want to create our other level, heading 2 is fine. Make it the same font. We'll make it normal, and we'll make it a bit smaller. Right, what else? So we can see it's very much the same in many ways as InDesign. Again, you've got your character styles, so it would be new character style, all small caps. And for that, we're looking for not that, but that in this case. You've got some other options that InDesign doesn't have. I don't know exactly what the difference between small caps, all small caps, and petite caps is. It must be another open type feature that I'm not that aware of. But anyway, we want small caps. That's not right. We want all small caps. That's it. wonder if I go to InDesign and I'll do my Control F and I go to grep and I search for that and I copy that. Just wondering if I can use the exact same grep command in this. So find and replace. You have to change it to regular expression. That's what they call grep. So let's see if it works. Right, sadly it's found that, so we'll just do find next, find next. Nah, that's not. It's not the same, exact same grep. Not to worry. I would probably just do it manually. I'm not going to spend too long on this, but you get the point. You would have to look up the documentation for how Affinity regular expressions differ from Adobe. And you can see there's another problem here in that these are all big columns. So we'll do a Control A. What I'm going to do to fix that is I'm going to bin all those pages and then hold down Alt Shift and click on that. Right, so it's done it. It's because when I created those before, I still had it as a single text frame. So you have to get the text frame right before you kind of tell it to make loads of pages worth with that on it. Running into that same issue I had in InDesign, where obviously just some sort of rounding errors causing some rounding errors causing that. So what I'll probably do, bin all those pages again, do it again. Yeah, get it right. There's no point in me showing you creating a character style for italics, a character style for bold, a character style for no break. All of that stuff is very simple. I think where things are a bit different would be the likes of the boxed stuff. Bear with me because I'm probably going to fumble about a wee bit here. It does not have paragraph shading the same way InDesign has paragraph shading. So if I create a new, I keep clicking up there because that's where I would create new styles in InDesign. New paragraph style, boxed body, and we want, I can leave that if we want. Go for that. Come back to this. Spacing. Spacing. Leaden. That's fine. To get the boxed part, I think we would have to go into decorations. We have to enable it. We have to say we want a fill, and fill colour, say we go for a nice deep red. For that. Back to colour, text to white, back to decorations. Yeah, we need an indent. So let's go 6 points left and right. Now it's shrunk the box, so we need to go back to decorations, and we need to put a negative indent left and right. That's strange. Six. I'm not going to question it. That doesn't make sense to me. That should be contained within that frame. That's fine. Top and bottom we want that's fine. Combine identical we want ticked, so we'll OK that. We'll apply it, and we will create a new paragraph style. Boxed header. So it's the same font. We'll make it black, and we will make it bigger, and we'll give it a wee bit of space before. And for the body, we'll give it a wee bit of space after. We'll maybe give it a wee bit of space before as well, just a tiny bit. That works. Now sadly I'm not sure there's a way of rounding these off. And that doesn't look like it. But that, turn on the preview, that's passable. You know, that gets you in the same ballpark as InDesign. You know, and again, everything's all one continuous flow of text, which I prefer. Pictures, place. Watch me fumble about trying to guess where the text wrap options are. It's not in there. I'm just going to pause this for 2 seconds. I'm going to find out. Right, it's up here. And again, this bit's very similar to InDesign. So we just want a square, and we want that's the right, John. And it handles how it interacts with the baseline grid a bit differently, so we do need some bottom as well. And since it jumps down a whole increment, we might have to increase that just to balance that out, which means we might want to reduce the size of it just a wee bit. What else have we got up here? Yeah, this is similar to That's kind of cool. Yeah, so it's got a locked in place there, that's quite good. Right, so I think that's enough for that. If anybody's got any questions about the InDesign thing I did or this, feel free to ask.